All right. Good evening. How's everyone this evening? You can either turn your microphones on or you can answer in the chat if you want to talk back. Either way. How y'all doing?
Fantastic. How you doing?
I'm fantastic also. Thanks. It's good to see everyone here. We do have a few more people that we're expecting, so we'll get a few more dings to come in momentarily. So I'm not going to get too far into things right now, but I do want to explain to those of you who are here that I asked you to have your cameras on for the beginning because it really helps me to actually have faces go with names. I know that even my own internet is going to be wonky sometimes because I just have bad internet, and in my neighborhood, I can't really get any better than what I have. So there will be times when I have to turn my own camera off. And so once I kind of get my eyes on people, then I'll let you go ahead and turn your cameras off if you would prefer to. You're all adults here, I assume, or pretending to be anyway. I mean, that's what my life is, pretending to be an adult. So, you know what you need to do during class time. And I'm not going to police that for you. But before we do get started on anything, does anyone have any questions that you wanted to make sure you get asked? You can either share them out loud or you can type them in the chat. You can directly chat me if you don't want to share with the whole class, or you can share with the whole class if you're comfortable with that. And that goes for any time that you want to ask a question. I do try to keep an eye on the chat as much as possible. So any questions or concerns that anyone have at this point before we've even gotten started? No? All right. I'm trying to get this out of the way here. Okay. It seems like it's calmed down with people coming into the class for a few minutes. Oh, no, I said that. As soon as I say that, somebody else comes in. Okay. Give them a second to join. All right, so I am Brandy Springstube, and this is English 249 Technical Writing, and I welcome you all to our class. We will be meeting Monday evenings via Zoom. We're scheduled to meet from 6:15 to 9:15. I have no idea how long it will take for us to go through our things for tonight, but we can expect to use quite a bit of the class time each class. And I would like to know from you at some point during this week if you would like to take breaks during class, or if you would like to go and do the whole class without any scheduled breaks and then end early, ideally, on most evenings. So if you have a view about that, an opinion about that, please go ahead and share that. You can share it out loud. You can put it in the chat. You can email me with whatever you prefer. But sometime through the next week, I would like to get a consensus on whether you want to take some breaks during class and then plan on using the whole 3 hours, or if you would like to cut out the breaks and then end early. And I see three voting for, okay. Most of you are saying no breaks and end early. All right. I kind of assumed that would be the way it is. That's usually the way it is on those evening 3-hour classes, especially these virtual ones. How many of you have been working all day? You come home from work and log into class? Anyone? A few of you? Okay. All right, we will plan on skipping breaks and ending early as often as we possibly can. But that doesn't mean that if you need a break during class, you can go ahead and take that if you need it. And you do not have to ask permission, by the way. I don't really need to police your break taking habits. If you need to take a break, you need to take a break. All right. I'll ask one more time if there are any questions that you want to make sure you get asked before we get started on the stuff for today. No? Okay. If you would like to turn your cameras off, you may. And I'm going to turn mine off because I can already tell that my internet is getting a little weird right now. And I need to share screen for class. So. Okay, let me just grab what I need here. And excuse me. We do, yeah. Okay, so as I said, this is technical writing. So our question then, oh yeah, this is me. I didn't put a picture in there because I didn't have any decent ones. Maybe I'll add one later. But yeah, I'm your instructor and here's my email address. If you want to contact me, you can also use the Google chat. If you're like logged into your Google, there's a little chat function. You can use that too. So what is English 249? We're not going to go too in depth into the details of the class as far as like the syllabus and all that stuff. I assume that by being college students, you're capable of reading the syllabus or having someone read it to you. So that is your responsibility. It's just like if you come on board with a new job and you're given an employee handbook and you're expected to read it and learn it. This is my expectation for you, is that you will read the syllabus and you will be able to ask questions about it as needed and that you will know what's expected of you. But anytime you have questions, please ask them. I'm always willing to answer questions. All right. So technical writing is a special kind of writing that focuses on professional writing. So most of you would have had to have taken or tested out of somehow English 101 in order to be in this class. That's one of the prerequisites. So English 101 focuses on, Austin, are you trying to say something? Or is that, yeah, Austin? Are you trying to say something? No? Okay. So English 101 focuses mostly on academic writing and maybe some real world kind of writing. And English 102 focuses even more on research-based writing. Creative writing obviously is more creative, writing stories and things. Technical writing focuses on writing that you'll do as part of your professional life. It is user-centered communication. It's practical writing, and it focuses on being ethical in your writing. And for more detailed information about the different projects we're going to do, the different requirements of the class, please read the course syllabus, because that will answer a lot of your questions. But I will pause and ask again, does anyone have any questions that you want to share at this time? Has anyone looked at the syllabus and you thought you have some questions about it you wanted to ask? Okay, great. All right. So getting more specific about just the field of technical writing. The Society for Technical Communication considers anything in these three categories to be technical writing. So communicating about technical or specialized topic, communicating by using technology, and providing instructions about how to do something. All of those and anything that would fit into those categories, no matter how loosely, would be considered technical communication, technical writing. A basic definition is that technical writing is used to inform, instruct, or direct a specific audience through maximum clarity and precision with a specific tangible goal in mind. So if we think about that definition of informing, instructing, or directing with maximum clarity and precision to achieve a tangible goal, what then are some examples of technical writing? What can you think of in real life that is actual technical writing?
Where I work, we use Teams. And so we use Teams chat a lot to communicate with different departments and interact.
Okay, so I'm going to put, whoops. I'm going to put Teams chat, and that's going to just stand in for all sort of interdepartmental or intra-departmental team kind of committee communication. And this is a good time to let you guys know that I am terrible at typing accurately, especially when I'm nervous, which I am because you guys are all new. And also when I'm trying to talk and type at the same time, that doesn't work. So I'll just let you know that ahead of time. Okay, business emails. Yes, I see that in the chat. So I'm going to add that in here is business emails. What are some other things? SOPs, and for those people who might not know, can you, whoever put that in there, can you tell us what SOPs are?
So an SOP is a standard operating procedure. I recently created one for this program that I manage, so that the affiliates are aware of the expectations and the invoicing process.
Perfect, thank you. Other ideas about technical writing? Should we pop back and review the definition again and see if we can come up with some other ideas? So it's writing used to inform, instruct, or direct a specific audience through maximum clarity and precision with a specific tangible goal in mind. Aha, I see a new one added in here. Resumes, I see newsletters. I'm gonna just add those two on here. Resumes. A newsletter might be technical writing depending on its audience and its context. The same with recipe blogs, if they're specifically meant to be teaching tools, training tools, they could be. I think I see on here training module or training modules, and I think that's a better overall kind of look at technical writing. Although, so newsletters, recipe blogs, or other kinds of blogs, those are they can be technical writing, or they could just be more general writing depending on the context. But a training module is always going to be technical writing. Does that make sense? And instructing a class like a fire department, I see that in the chat as well. Instructing a class, say like a fire department, instructing a class, the writing that they would have to do to create that class, the lessons, the procedures, and then teach it would be considered technical writing. Yes. Others might be, how many of you play board games? So board game instructions. Those would be considered technical writing. Or if you play video games, there are a lot of resources out there, the different like books and videos and that are meant to teach you how to beat the game would be considered technical writing. So there are many other things that we can add to this, and we will be talking about quite a few different kinds of writing over the course of the semester. So walkthroughs for video games, that's a question. It can be considered technical writing, the writing that goes into creating, if you're talking about like a video teaching you how to play the video game, the person doing that would have to have some sort of a video plan or script, storyboard that they would put together, and that would be considered technical writing. Let's see. So some of, yeah, you're welcome. Some of the kinds of writing that we will be working on this semester will include things like business emails, resume, cover letter. You'll be looking at job descriptions, and then you will be writing some job descriptions, product descriptions, instructions, reviews, complaint letters, responses to complaint letters, performance reviews, and we will be working on different parts of a business website, and then you will have a formal presentation at the end of the semester. So those are some of the things. If there's a particular kind of technical writing that you were hoping that we would cover in this class this semester, please let me know. Because while I have a plan for the semester, I also have a lot of flexibility. So I would be able to maybe change some things out and add some things in if there's something that you are very much interested in. Especially those of you that have different career goals and interests. We have a few people in the class that are majoring in business. We have others who are in, I think we have some health sciences people. We have some, maybe some mechanical or engineering type people in the class. We have some general ed. We have some writers in the class, just a variety. And we want to try and hit as many things as we can to give you sort of that introduction to the whole scope and sequence of technical writing. So if your dream job is to write board game instructions, we'll make sure we have a lesson on that. Some of the principles of technical writing. Some of these will be, in fact, all of them really are the same as what you would have learned in English 101. They're just applied slightly differently in technical writing. We have to know the purpose. You have to understand your audience. This is audience or user-centered writing. You have to know the topic or the product and its particular requirements. You want to be consistent. That is actually one of the reasons why I use slides themes instead of designing each slide myself, because I know that the designs, the fonts, the kinds of images will be consistent if I use one of those themes. So using themes is helpful in certain things, but whatever you do, whatever you have to do, being consistent with that style and design writing precisely and clearly, and then making good, appropriate use of visuals where it's going to be helpful. Those are all the main principles of technical writing, and we will be looking at them all in more detail as we go through the semester. And for those of you who are taking notes, I see some people might be taking notes. If you are taking notes, keep in mind that the whole slideshow is already linked on Blackboard. So you have access to the slideshow, plus class is being recorded. So you can go back and watch class and again later. I will, this is a good time to tell you that after class, I'll process the video. If it doesn't take too long, I'll get it uploaded to YouTube tonight, and then I'll have the link added in on Blackboard either tonight or tomorrow morning. And that'll be the case every week, either Monday night or Tuesday morning. The link for the recording will be available. Okay, so we had the principles of technical writing and what makes good technical writing. Again, this is very similar to things you might have learned in previous writing classes. The comprehensiveness, covering all the material that needs to be covered, emphasizing the important things and not giving space to things that don't need to be present. Facility, which means the ease of use for the user. Remember, again, user-centered communication. So it has to be easy for your users, your readers, to access the information, to digest, to understand the information. You want to focus on quality, not quantity. In fact, shorter is better. And then you want to present whatever writing with a kind of an attitude of confidence, so that the user will trust that they have the right information, that they will trust that they have the right instructions to play the game or complete the project. And then for your own benefit, and for some, I guess, making sure we all are understanding things, I would like you, before the next class, to read the entry for technical writing style on pages 511 through 512 in the Handbook of Technical Writing. If you have this book already, you'll notice that it is set up like a handbook, as it says, in alphabetical order with topics, different entries for different topics. If you don't have it yet, you'll see that when you do get it. It's not a typical textbook. I do refer to it as a textbook many times because I'm just used to that, but it is set up in really short entries about different things. So we'll be using this as more of a reference guide than an actual teaching guide. While in an essay, the beauty of an essay is often in its in the writer's ability to use academic language and transition from one area to the next with grace and clarity and beauty. You don't really find that so much in technical writing. Technical writing moves, from one thing to the next at a pretty brisk pace. So the beauty in technical writing is actually found in its efficiency and its accuracy and its clarity. So your motto, our motto for this class should be to keep it efficient, keep it accurate, and keep it clear. Anytime you do any writing, check and make sure that you have used the least number of words necessary to say what needs to be said, that all of your information is factual, that it's verifiably factual, and that you have written with maximum clarity. Are there any questions at this point? or comments or concerns? Right, I'll keep an eye on the chat if there's anyone who is going to type anything in. But having said all of this, what is technical writing? What are the principles of technical writing? Now, what is it that technical writers do? What kinds of people are technical writers? Or how can we characterize technical writers? Well, 3 ways we can characterize them are technical writers are information designers. They are also user advocates. So they make sure that the information, the way it's designed, the way it's presented, makes it easy for users to access and understand and then implement that information. And then they are stewards of writing activity in organizations. And what that means is that technical writers kind of oversee the writing that goes on in an organization. If an organization specifically employs technical writers, then those people kind of manage the written communications for the products or the services. Sometimes they check the internal communications like training manuals or employee handbooks and things like that. So they kind of oversee all of that and make sure that it's the writing meets those criteria of efficiency, accuracy, and clarity. All right. So we're going to actually have you doing some work tonight, but we're going to do a little prep before we get there. So we're going to be beginning with professional email, but I have a question, a good one that came in through the chat. So they don't have to be the actual subject expert. No, and in fact, in most cases, technical writers are not the subject experts. Or they're only experts in a certain area of the subject. For example, my dad just retired from a security position in a engineering think tank group. I don't know what they do, engineering stuff, and they do a lot of government contracts. And so my dad does security for that. And it's not just site security, but it's like actual whole informational security as well. And so he works with some of the engineers pretty closely to produce reports where he handles the security aspect of it, while the engineers will write the more technical aspect of it. And so they write together. And that would happen a lot with technical writing, where the writer is not the subject expert. They would probably team up with those who are subject experts and then kind of translate their stuff into more accessible language. So how many of you are regular users of professional email?
Oh, all day, every day.
All day, every day. All right. Well, you should teach this lesson then.
No.
No, you don't want to because you've been working all day, right? All right. Yeah, so every day for work. And most of us sit back when we're young and we say, I'm never going to have to do all that writing. I just need to get through this English composition class because I'm never going to do any of this writing. And then you get out and you realize that you have to send team messages and professional emails and all kinds of writing memos and things that you have to do every day. And project proposals and things. And so, we get to do that. So the first assignment is going to be professional email. And before we get there, we're going to work on this 3-part writing plan. This may look familiar. Again, I know I keep referring back to English 101, and that's because that is a prerequisite for the course. And so that kind of gives us our common ground for talking about this, but many of you would have talked about the the rhetorical situation in your English 101, your composition classes. In that, you would have to know your purpose, your audience, and your context. Those are the three main parts of the rhetorical situation. And you can kind of expand on that as well. But in business writing and technical writing, professional writing, we can use that same idea where we have to know the goal, we have to know the audience, and then we have to choose the content and the design of the content that is going to both meet the goal and meet the audience's expectations. So we're always going to do this 3-part writing plan before we actually do any writing. In defining your goal, you want to consider the specific purpose that you want to accomplish with the piece of communication. Thinking about what exactly you want to happen when the person you're writing to reads your text, your email, your memo, whatever it is. Defining your goals can keep you aligned with the big picture while guiding you to effective content. So what are some goals you might have? Those of you that write work emails every day, what are some of the goals that you often have in writing? Or do you not consider those goals when you write?
I guess my biggest thing, I handle invoicing. I work in accounts payable. And I guess my goal is to get information back, like mostly pricing issues resolved. And I guess I'm looking for like information on making sure everything on the invoice is correct so I can pay it.
Right.
I guess.
Okay,
So,
great. And you keep that in mind while you are writing your emails?
yes. And I notice if I have multiple questions on one email, I only usually get an answer to one of those questions.
That's a good point. And that is something that we want to talk about as well, is the good business writing, good business emails limit the number of points or the amount of information that is shared at one time. So we'll be talking about that as well.
Oh, good.
Let's see, we've got a couple other answers in the chat. We have to get my point across. That's one of the goals, is to get your point across. Another goal is asking for the client's goal and what they should expect. So your goal there is to understand what your clients want from you. Great. And so knowing that goal can help you to decide on the content that you will share in that particular email. You also need to know your audience. And this can sometimes be harder, especially if it's someone you've never met, someone you don't know. You have to make a lot of assumptions based on information that you do have, to the best of your ability. You have to be able to picture your audience somehow, your reader somehow. And one of the things to keep in mind is that the more effective writing, whether it's a business email or a proposal or an essay or a job posting, whatever, is to address everything you write to a specific person, to have an actual specific person in mind. And we have a guide that's going to give us some things to look at for demographics, psychographics, and positioning and personality. So demographics is usually that background information about age and gender and socioeconomic status and those kinds of things. Psychographics is more about the way someone thinks and what they value, what they believe. And then positioning and personality is sort of where do they fit within the company or organization, and what are their personal kind of expectations and preferences and maybe even quirks, if you know some of those as well. And then I have a guide that I put together that I modified from actually one of my favorite books to use for business writing, which is Business Writing for Dummies. It's really a good book if you've never looked at it. So I put this guide together where we have the just kind of your audience profile, and you have the demographic information that we're used to seeing and used to considering. We have the psychographics, which gets into the person's lifestyle, values and beliefs, opinions and attitudes, interests, and that kind of stuff. And then the positioning and personality. And you may not be able to say something about all of these areas for the audience that you're writing for. And you may not have one specific person, maybe it's a group of people, but it's a specific group of people, not just the random, anyone who's interested, but a specific group of people. But you should be looking for as much of this information as you can, enough to give you a good visual, a good idea of who this person is that's going to be reading your content. And this document, for this copy of it, you're not able to edit, but if you would like to, and I encourage you to because you'll need to use it, if you sign into your own Google account, your own Google Drive through your GRCC email, and then you go into our slides and click on that link that I clicked on to get here. Once you're in your own drive is open, you can go to File and make a copy, and then you can copy it into your own Google Drive, in which case you'll be able to start editing it and using it on your own. And if you need help doing that at a later time, just let me know and I can help you out with that. All right, but we're going to go back to, let's see. All right, I'm going to go this you guys can't see it, but I need to move this down. There we go. Now I can get back to our thing. Okay. There's something covering the top of my screen that you guys can't see, but it keeps me from being able to do what I need to do here. All right. Once you do have an idea of your audience, then you can start brainstorming your content. Use that audience profile as a guide. Anticipate your audience's questions. What do you think they will ask you? What will they want to know? How might they respond to the information you want to share? And then create content that addresses both your goal and your audience's expectations. And then what you'll want to do is make sure that you can somehow connect with your audience. And as we go through, today is just really the overview to kind of get our feet wet, get the kind of big picture of the things we'll be doing. So we will go into these things in more detail in later lessons, but I do want to give you a chance to practice. So your first assignment will be to write an email introducing yourself to me, your professor. So that's something you want to keep in mind is your professor. To prepare though, instead of thinking about your goals and instead of thinking about me, I want you to start by thinking about yourself. Since this is technical writing, which is professional writing, I want you to take a few minutes to create a list of the personal and professional qualities you want others to perceive in you. This list is your list, but I will be asking you to do something else with this list later on in the semester. So for now, no one needs to see it except you. But later in the semester, we are going to come back to this. And at that point, I'm going to ask you to do some things with it that are going to, well, I don't want to give it all away, but they're going to help me see the progress that you're making in the class. So right now, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to give you all a few minutes and let you make your list of the personal and professional qualities you want others to perceive in you.
Is oh,
I have a question about, is there a minimum of how many we need? There isn't a minimum. No, I can't say that I want to give you a minimum of how many you need. 'Cause you may find that you add on to the list later on, even in this class or in other classes as things start to come to mind more. You're welcome. Okay. Does anyone need more time? Okay. Remember that every time you write, you want to be, oh, somebody does need more time. Never mind. I'll be quiet. If you're still making your list, you can always add to it later on after class, or maybe you'll have a little bit more time during class. But I want to go ahead and move on. And I have a question here that may pertain to some of you at future times, so I'll go ahead and share it. But the person is saying that their device is acting weird. Is it okay to leave and rejoin with a new device, a computer, a phone, or whatever? Yes, absolutely. I understand that there are times that our devices are going to act up, our internet's going to act up. I don't mind people coming and going as you need to. So, all right. So remember that anytime you do writing for this class, for your business life, your professional life, whether you're in business or in a different field, you want to be this person, this person who you have created this list of personal and professional qualities. You want to be that person in your writing as much as you possibly can. To help you with the email assignment, later on, you can go to your handbook and read the email section, pages 153 through 156. That will go into a little more detail about some of the things that we're talking about, and then give you some new information that you might find helpful as well. Okay, at this point, what we're going to do is I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I'm going to have the computer assign you randomly, since most of you I do not know, and I don't know that any of you know each other or not, but I'll just have the computer randomly assign you to a breakout room. When you're in that room, the things that you want to do are to first introduce yourselves to one another. This is a good time to let you know that there will be a fair amount of group work in this class, and that is really because when you are in your professional worlds, very rarely will you be working completely by yourself. Some of you who are freelancers or in certain professions may find that you do more independent work than others, but there will come times where you have to work with other people. And so we're going to do that in this class. And it also helps to, I think, if you approach the group work with the right mindset, it helps to alleviate some of the workload by spreading it out, having people you can share it with, having a group that's there to support you and for you to support, and kind of, gives a little more camaraderie, especially in a virtual class where we don't really interact with each other any other way. So you're going to introduce yourselves to one another. Then you're going to use that audience profile to do your best to create a profile of me. You've only been, most of you have now had slightly less than an hour's experience with me. So what can you do to profile me based on that knowledge? It'll be interesting to see what you come up with. And then brainstorm appropriate content for your introductory email. So I'm not talking about the specific details for each person. I'm talking about, what do you think are the things that I would want to know in general about you, about my students, about the people that I'm going to be working with for the next 14 weeks. And then there is a Jamboard that I created for the class, and you all have editing privileges for that. And so you can all come on here. I have 2 pages. One is labeled audience profile, and the other is labeled email content. You can use sticky notes to add content, or text to add content. Or if you have really good writing skills with your mouse, or you have a pen or something, you can just write on these boards. If you guys run out of space and need more boards, just create more by clicking the arrow button. So now we have a third one that's not labeled, and you can just add as many as you need. If you do create a new board, could you please put a label at the top so we know what it is? And then after, I'll probably give you about, I don't know, 20 minutes, and I'll check in on you and see if people need more time or not. But we'll come back and we'll share all of this together. We'll talk about it, and then we'll talk about what you need to do going forward with your assignment. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Again, you all have access to the slides, the Google Slides that I've been sharing in class. It is available in Blackboard. At the top of the menu, the left menu, there is the Intro to Technical Writing. If you click on that, it will show you the link to the slides. And in that slide, you have the links to this Jamboard and to the audience profile. So before I set you up into groups, does anyone have any questions? Questions about anything we've covered? Questions about what you're supposed to do in your group? Questions about why it's so cold? No. What? Why is this not? It's 27. Assign automatically, and before I do that, I saw. Oh, okay. So before I. Okay, one person is saying they're denied access to the Google Doc. So I will check the settings on that and make sure that that is available to you. If you're still having trouble, come back and message me, and I'll send you the link directly. In the group, do we all answer individually, or one writer for each? One writer for each group. Yeah, and I assume that was the profile link. So Madison, I'll try to make sure I get that worked out in just a minute. If after a couple minutes you still don't have access to that document, please send me another message so that I can just email it to you directly. Okay, so that I may have done something with the, so the profile link, guys, the profile link, you have to save into your own Google Drive in order to work. One thing you could do with that is you could just go in and copy and paste the content and create it into your own, and it won't let you copy. Huh. Okay, let me work on that. I think what I'm going to do for the moment is I will, well, let me check. Okay. You know what? I think I have it. Okay, try it again. All right, I see someone in here. The anonymous pumpkin is here. And I see the rest of you. Okay, you all have access now. So great. Thank you for letting me know. Sometimes things don't get clicked like they should. That was one of these cases. Okay. So I'm going to create the breakout rooms. You will be assigned randomly to a room. Just jump in there, and if you have any trouble, let me know and I'll do my best to help you. And the main room will be open. So once I'm going to check with you in about 20 minutes. And then if everyone is back, or most of you are back before the 20 minutes, then we'll go ahead and move on. But if people are still in the breakout rooms in 20 minutes, I will check in and see how you're doing and how much more time you think you need. All right. Any last questions? Okay, I am creating the rooms. And they are open, or they're opening. There you go. Okay. I think everyone should be back in the main room by now. How did things go in your groups?
It went great.
Okay. I like to hear that. I hope that that was the same for all of the groups, that you were able to get some things done together, working well. I have had a fun time peeking at the information that you have, particularly on the audience profile. Good. So I see on the profile and then in the comments that somehow someone got the idea that I like to hula dance. Hula dance at home on Friday evenings. Now, let me tell you, that sounds like a lot of fun to me, but I have like zero coordination on land. All my coordination is in the water. I have zero coordination on land. So hula dancing, not really. It was a good idea and I love the picture, but nope, I'm not a hula dancer. Hula dancing underwater? Well, I've never tried it, but I would. I mean, I do like, I guess, kind of swirl around under the water is, kind of a fun thing. So, yeah, that sounds like fun. Okay, so let's look at what you have here. Based on your 1 hour, your whole hour of experience with me, you did pick up on that I tend to be kind of shy, and that is true. I have to work really hard to be an extrovert of sorts in the classroom. Naturally, I'm an introvert who is somewhat shy, uncomfortable in new situations, but I can try to make the best of it. Obviously, I'm a teacher and I've been teaching for a while. Attentive to work. I, generally, interesting. Well, that's up to you guys to decide. Of course, I think I'm super interesting and funny, but not everyone agrees. Expert in communicating and writing. I hope so. I mean, as much as anyone can be. Patient with students, I really try to be. If I'm under caffeinated, that's where things get hard. But as long as I've had my caffeine, I can be as patient as I need to be. Busy most of the time, but I have been working really hard on work-life balance lately. Hardworking, patient, female. I like that you guys put my age as mid-20s and late 20s throughout this. I'm just going to leave that. We're going to go with that. We're good with that. I love to read and write. Whoever pegged that is, or whoever got that, you pegged me right there. I love to read and write, and I love to laugh. And despite the fact that I am naturally an introvert, I am a people person. So I do like my people. I'm just kind of selective about how much time and when I will spend that with people. Caring, nice, organized, pleasant to deal with, approachable, engaging. I mean, likes to hula dance at home on Friday evenings. I mean, that really does sound like a great Friday evening to me. Maybe I'll try it. I'll let you guys know how it goes. All right, so you've got some really very positive characteristics that I see on here. I hope that I can live up to all of these. And I think that if you do keep these things in mind, when you're writing your emails to me as your audience, you will do well with that. And I see on there 4-year education, possible master's, and then others master's degree. Yes, I do have a master's degree. In order to teach at GRCC, you have to have a master's degree. So as soon as I completed mine, I filled out my application to teach at GRCC. So the audience profile, you look like you did a really good job on that. Does anyone have any questions or further comments or anything you want to share about your process? Any questions you want to ask me to add to the profile? Not hearing anything, and if something comes up in the chat, I will look at that. But we're going to go ahead and look at the, oh, you have more on the audience profile, which looks very similar. Occupation, married, hijabi. Somebody's got a word going on there. Yes, that is true. Middle class, trying to be. Let's see, we didn't know how to answer the culture question. If you're comfortable with sharing, I'd like to know more. Okay, well, somebody did put in the ethnic, cultural, and religious identity. They did put in hijabi on that second slide or second screen or page or whatever you call it in the Jamboard. And that is true. So I do wear a headscarf, and it's commonly referred to as hijab. I do that for religious reasons. I do identify as Muslim. And funny. And yeah, so whoever got that, you got that right, Madison, and your group, whoever else was in there. So yeah, so let's kind of go through some of their individual freedom. Yes. These are tutoring. I do. How did you know that? Oh, that's kind of scary that somebody knows that, but kind of cool. Let's see, teaching, all of that stuff. Okay. I think internet connection for the weaknesses. That's funny. But that's true. Yeah, other weaknesses occur when there's a lack of caffeine in my system, and I prefer my caffeine to come from coffee, black. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the email content, and I'm going to go ahead and share screen again. While I do this, I just realized I'm not sharing screen, and I think that would be a good idea. Okay, so email content, this is where we need to spend a little time talking about this, but we have some really good things on here for the content of your email, and then we have some things that I'm not sure about. So when you write your email introducing yourselves to me, letting me know things like your field of study, your current profession, your goals, your the specific technical writing aspects that you want to explore this semester. Maybe something personal just to create that connection, anything related to kind of maybe your skills that are relevant to the course, and possibly your age range, gender, marital status, family situation, things like that, if they're relevant to the class or if they'll help me to know you better. Those would be all appropriate for business emails. And the things that are maybe not so important for a business email, even though you're introducing yourselves, they might be things like your favorite vacation or your pets, some of those more personal things that are not super relevant to our class and to the work that we're going to be doing. Those are things that would make your email a little bit less professional and a little bit too long. So given that, I think what we can do, let me see if I can do this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the ones that are most relevant that you should include into this blue. Let's see, we've got, this is on here twice. Something personal. I think I'm going to go ahead and turn that something personal blue, because we do want to create a connection of some sort. We do want to make us more about more than just our field of study and work, and that something more personable, more humanizing, I guess. The rest of the things on here, I think you would have to really look at what you would intend to accomplish by sharing these kinds of things. are they really going to fit that professional image that you want to portray in your first email? And so that's a question that you would have to ask yourselves. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that right now? About any of these other, the non-blue, the yellow stickies that are on here? Does anyone have any questions or comments or want to share your reasoning behind them to see if we can see how they might fit into our goals for this assignment? Would short-term career goals be professional? Yeah, I think short-term career goals would be fine. Especially considering the trends of careers as their work, the current trends in careers and in work life. People are changing job positions, changing careers more often than at any other time in modern history. It's no longer common for people to start one career in one company and stay there through retirement. Now it's more common to work in a particular career, a profession, a company for a shorter time. So short-term career goals could fit this this topic or this assignment. Sorry. Stop. Okay. What do I there? Okay. Any others that you want to ask about, or is there anyone that you want to argue for? You want to advocate for, if you don't want to think of it in terms of arguing, but you want to advocate for a specific one to be in your professional introductory email.
Skills.
Skills. Why would you like to advocate for skills?
Well, I think it's important to know because, I mean, you've stated like maybe education, maybe at this point, or like your profession, but you could have also skills that help it or that just make you more valuable in that and what you're talking about.
Yeah. Now, I think that is, that's a good point, that some of you are coming in with skills that would be very valuable, not only just for me as the professor to know about, but for your classmates to know about as well, as we do some more class, like group work and stuff like that. So we can go ahead and turn skills into a blue note, a blue sticky. Any others that you think you would want to argue in favor of? Because they would add value to the introductory email.
I don't know. I always like to know a little bit about, I don't know if it's appropriate, but just a little bit about like background as far as like, you know, whether you're married or single or you have kids or you have a dog or I don't know if that, maybe that's too much information, but like usually when I'm meeting somebody like face to face, you know, I'd like if it's like, you know, professional and I'm going to be getting to, you know, work with them more. I feel like that's the kind of thing you would get to know them, but maybe it's just not like that's more on a personal level, I guess, maybe. So that one might not work.
Yeah. Well, I think again, that one is something that individuals would really need to decide what and how much of that they would want to share in this kind of email. You do want to create some sort of a connection. You do want to present yourself as a multi-dimensional human being, right? You're more than just your field of study and your professional goals. So I think if we leave it at something personal, and we understand that personal can include things like age, gender, marital status, family, even pets, if you have beloved pets that are, a big important part of your life, then we can kind of just include something personal instead of saying everyone has to share all of these things. Leave it at something personal, because someone might have, say a hobby that is really relevant, but they don't want to share things about their age or their gender or their marital status and that kind of stuff. Maybe that's too personal for them, but sharing a hobby, especially if it relates to future goals, might be something they're more comfortable with. So I think that we'll leave it at something personal, but understand that many of these other sticky notes on here could qualify as that something personal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. If anyone has any others that you would like to argue for, you can certainly do that. But I do want to go back here and look at the rest of what we have going on. So the assignments for this week, you don't really have any major majorly time consuming assignments. Let's see. Sorry, there's a funny post in the chat that I was just reading, but okay, so your two main assignments for this week is to write that professional email, that email of introduction. And I do have a description of that, which we will look at and is available to you. But yeah, okay, it should be available to you. And I have on here that you are to compose a professional email of introduction. Your purpose is to introduce yourself to me, your professor. Your audience is me. The content would be relevant information about yourself and your motivations and goals for this course specifically. And don't forget that humanizing element, something personal to create connection. As far as design elements, you need to have a subject line. So don't send your email without filling in the subject line. You need to have an appropriate greeting. You should have a clear body with clear paragraphs and that, and then you should have a professional closing to your email. The content, I am going to fill that in. It's going to be based on the information that we just talked about on the Jamboard. I do see a question in the chat that I overlooked a minute ago, and it asks if I'll delete the document, and I'm assuming that is the Jamboard, and no, I am not going to delete that. That is available for you. So you have access to it for the whole semester through the link in the slides. Let's see. All right, so the content, I will add that in right after class. And then the style, you want it to be professional. So you want it to be formal, but not like legal document formal. You want it to still have some warmth to it, some humanity to it. It should be respectful. It should have positive energy, so somewhat conversational and friendly, but again, maintaining that formality because we are practicing business communication, business email. Your maximum word count shouldn't be more than 300 words. That's pretty standard for any business email. If you start going beyond that, no one will read. And you want your communications to be read. Your paragraphs, keep them short. 1 to 3 or 4 sentences is good. Remember 1 point in each sentence. Sentences, keep them short as well, 10 to 15 words for most of your sentences. Do I expect you to sit and count word by word, every single one? No, just keep in mind to keep it short. Remember that efficiency factor. Accurate, make sure that you present factual information about yourself. I mean, it's kind of hard to get that wrong. But, don't exaggerate and don't undersell yourself either. Be accurate. And then clear. Make sure that your information is as clearly stated as you possibly can. Choose your words carefully and avoid slang and cliches. Do you have any questions? Is there anything else besides adding in the content points that you need in this document to make the assignment understandable and clear for you?
I was just curious, are we writing this in first person or third person?
You are going to write this in first person.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. What is considered a cliche for emails? Anything that's considered a cliche for anywhere else is considered a cliche for emails. So really those just the overworn phrases that really convey no meaning at all. To confirm, are we sending you a physical email? Yes, you are sending me a physical email. You can get my email address from Blackboard. There's the information about the instructor. It's on the syllabus and it is at the beginning of today's slides. Is this assignment on Blackboard? The assignment is in the slides. And do you want this sent from the school email? Yes, I want it from the school email, not from a Word document. Any other questions or concerns about your assignment? Anything that you want me to add to this document? Okay. The specific subject line is up to you. What you think might be a good relevant subject line. I will add into this assignment information here to send the email directly to me from your school email addresses to make sure that's clear. Okay, I don't see any more messages coming in yet, but I will look at those if they do come in. And we're not done looking at the previous slide. So the other assignment that you have, and note, this is due by noon on Thursday. Most of your assignments for this class will be due either noon on Thursday for shorter, quicker turnaround kind of assignments, and then noon on Mondays for the ones that take a bit more time, longer amount of time, or just follow whatever's due on the Thursday. That's kind of the rhythm that I have found works well, is having, instead of having everything due at one time on the same day, having it broken up into smaller pieces. So you have the Thursday and you have Monday, Thursday and Monday. So your other assignment that is due Monday, and there is a place for you to submit that on Blackboard, is to look on Indeed for 3 job postings that interest you. You could look for things that might be your dream job, or you could look at just job postings that are of interest to you for any reason that you decide. And then what I would like you to do is copy and paste the details for each of those 3 jobs into a Word document. And then you'll submit that document, or if you use Google Docs, you can do it in Google Docs and then save it as a PDF and submit the PDF. So either a Word or a PDF document on Blackboard by noon on Monday. That'll give me time to review as many of them as I can before our class Monday evening. So if you haven't looked at Indeed before, it's pretty straightforward. You can see that there are different postings. You can click on one of the postings and it will give you the details. So then you just want to come here and copy out these job details. You just come down and copy and paste. This one has a lot of details. You don't have to copy things like maps, but just, the relevant information, copy those, paste them into a document. If you want to, there's a question about, can you use LinkedIn instead? That's fine, as long as you're able to copy and paste the information into a document. Make sure you do get like the company and all of that. When I was just doing it now, I didn't do that, but as long as you can get all the information into a document, you could use LinkedIn. There are other sites as well. For those who don't really have much familiarity with any of them, Indeed's a pretty straightforward one to use. But if you have another that you prefer, that's fine as well. Any other questions about this particular assignment? Okay. All right, and a lot of times I like to just share a nice inspirational photo and quote for the fun of it. So there's nothing you have to do with this. It's just there because it's nice to end that way. So that is all that I have planned for our first class today. I am available now if there's anyone who wants to stay and chat and ask any questions, share any information. But that is all I have for you. So you are free to log out at any moment. Remember to look around Blackboard, make sure you can find all of the things you need to find, and that you review the syllabus and that you understand what it is that you're supposed to be doing for your business email and finding your job postings. Right. And if I don't hear from you, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Have a
Thank
good night.
you.
Thanks.
Have a
Have a
good
good
night.
night. Thank you.